Every day they wreck integrity and college strength. But the facts crush their bravado, and I've got plenty. Let's break it down.
What you're about to see is a live demonstration of Republican sabotage dressed up as oversight. Watch as Senator Patty Murray tries to get straight answers about the FBI's budget, only to run into a MAGA-era stonewall of evasion, disinformation, and politicized gaslighting from a Trump-aligned FBI director who seems allergic to basic accountability.
Capitol, we're privileged to have the ranking member, the vice chair of the full committee with us today. Senator Murray, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Chair Moran. It's good to work with you and Ranking Member Van Hollen in this new position, so look forward to both of you and the work on this committee. You know, the FBI does really crucial work to keep our nation safe, whether it's stopping criminal organizations or domestic terrorists, protects our nation's secrets, it prevents cyber attacks, keeps our children safe from harm, and a lot more. So this is really sober work with extremely high stakes. And I'm concerned that instead of focusing on the incredibly important mandate to keep Americans safe and to help impartially enforce our laws under your leadership, Director Patel, the FBI has been weaponized to go after Americans who disagree with the president. FBI resources have been diverted away from combating terrorism to focusing on immigration requests. And all of this, the diverted missions, the fewer resources, fewer agents, heightened politicization, is happening now under your watch, and it is, I believe, making Americans less safe. Now, let me just start with the budget. As Ranking Member Van Hollen noted earlier, this hearing is being held without the FBI's fiscal year 2025 spend plan and a full budget request for fiscal year 2026. The spend plan is required by law. It was due to Congress over a week ago. We have not yet seen it. That is really absurd. The FBI is our nation's leading law enforcement agency, a budget of $10.7 billion. It is critical that we understand how you are spending taxpayer dollars. So, Director Patel, when should we expect this FY25 spend plan for the FBI? Have you seen it? Have you reviewed it? When will we get it?
I'll get you an answer, ma'am. I don't have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
No.
Well, we also need a full budget request, not a single paragraph full of wild talking points that we saw with the skinny budget proposal. We're now having a budget hearing without a budget request. So, Director Patel, where is the FY 2026 budget request for the FBI?
It's being worked on, ma'am.
Have you reviewed it? Have you approved it?
Not yet.
When will we get it?
As soon as I can get it from my interagency partners and get it approved.
6 months from now?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm not going to make up a timeline.
Well, how do we as Congress do our budget and our work without that request and without the spend plan?
Well, ma'am, I'm here. I'm doing the
care.
best I can. I can't make up answers. I'm going to commit to you to work on getting you the information you need.
That is insufficient and deeply disturbing. No response?
I've given my response.
Well, the FBI is already down 1,900 employees since 2023 as a direct result of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And under the Trump administration, FBI agents, analysts, linguists, cyber experts, and scientists are being asked to do a lot more in order to keep us safe. Director Patel, we all know that budget cuts will reduce the FBI's ability to counter threats of terrorism, and it will hinder its ability to keep pace with firearm background checks and shutter operations that combat violent crime, drugs, gangs, and transnational organized crime. Now, I understand that you told our House colleagues yesterday that you don't want to reduce the FBI workforce, meaning that you disagree with what President Trump is proposing?
No, I agree that we can sustain the mission with the proposed budget, and I agree with the budget. And as I said yesterday, I believe that what I said was I can do more with more. And I gave examples of what more we could do if we were given more.
Well, it's different than what you told the House yesterday. So what are you communicating to the President and the White House about what you need and what? And again, we don't have a budget request from you, so I'm not sure what you're asking us for.
I'm not asking you for anything at this time.
You can operate without a budget?
I never said that.
Well, this is unprecedented. Okay, well, let me just go to another topic since you're not going to answer that. The FBI partners with state, local, and tribal law enforcement organizations. They provide critical intelligence and operational capabilities to combat violent crime and gangs and terrorist threats, fentanyl trafficking, challenges that our local communities really can't face alone. I'm going to give you an example. A few years ago, the Southeast Washington Safe Streets FBI Task Force worked with our Benton County and Franklin County Sheriff's Office, multiple Tri-Cities police departments, and the State Corrections Department to carry out one of the largest ever drug seizures in the region's history. Now we've got an administration already cutting more than $800 million in assistance in 2025 to local law enforcement organizations while proposing a $500 million cut for the FBI. Director Patel, can you explain to this committee how cutting resources for our local law enforcement partner agencies the FBI relies on to help your bureau keep safe? How do you expect the FBI and local law enforcement to do more without those significant resources they need?
The FBI will continue to do what it does, which is work with embedded state and local law enforcement officers in our Joint Terrorism Task Force, in our Safe Streets Task Force, in our gang task forces. Those are a priority. Those billets have been maintained. Those billets have not been reduced. And with my reorientation, reprogramming that we've notified Congress to, you will see an augmentation in the field in every single state in this country.
Well, again, we need to see the numbers and we need to see that budget from you. Let me ask you about the NICS system. The FBI is really on the front lines of keeping guns out of the hands of very dangerous criminals. The NICS serves a really critical role in enhancing national security and public safety by conducting background checks. You know this. They are supported by the vast majority of American people, and I wanted to ask you this morning, will you commit to continuing to fund and run the FBI background check system?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to ask one final question here, Mr. Chairman. I want to talk again about how the FBI is focusing its resources. President Trump has turned the Department of Justice into a tool to go after his perceived enemies, and many of the actions we have now seen at the FBI are alarming. The FBI has reassigned and pushed out career FBI agents for political reasons. We have seen fear and intimidation promoted throughout the Bureau, including by polygraphing your own staff. We've seen the arrest of a sitting judge in Wisconsin, and during your confirmation hearing, you committed that there would be no politicization, no retribution at the FBI under your leadership. You've reportedly placed FBI employees responsible for investigation January 6 cases on leave. Is that keeping up your promise of no politicization, no retribution?
It is, because that's wildly inaccurate. Let me tell you what the FBI has done since I got there. 8,276 federal arrests, to 820 kilograms seized of fentanyl. That's enough to kill 250,000 people, over 3,000 firearms seized, 350 gang cases, 3,000 cases against violent criminals.
That's not my question. We know that you...
Well, you asked if I was weaponizing the FBI, and I am not. I'm giving you the hard, concrete examples of the men and women putting handcuffs on bad people, doing harm to our children and innocent Americans. I do not see weaponization.
You have placed on leave FBI employees responsible for the investigation of January 6th. That sounds political to me.
I have not placed anyone on leave who has not violated their ethical obligation or their oath to the Constitution.
So if they were investigating January 6th, you believe they were violating an ethical obligation?
Nope. I think the common theme here is you putting words in my mouth, and I'm not going to tolerate it, nor will the men and women of the FBI.
Well, you did place on leave an analyst responsible for investigating Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. Is that politicization? Is that retribution?
No, not if she broke the law or the ethical guidelines. I don't know which case you're talking about, but that's the standard. And we will hold ourselves inwardly accountable, and we will not be strayed from our mission because people think we are politicizing the Bureau. If you want to talk about someone who was attacked by a weaponized Bureau, you're looking at him. And now he's the director of the FBI, and he's cleaning it up.
Well, I would just say to everyone who's listening that the FBI needs to be focused on its mission to keep the entire country safe. It should not be weaponized for partisan political gain. Thank you,
We are.
Chairman.
Senator Kennedy.
Let's not sugarcoat this. Director Patel came to this hearing with one goal: to dodge, deflect, and run cover for the GOP's systematic defunding of law enforcement under the false pretense of fiscal responsibility. And Senator Patty Murray? She wasn't having any of it. Murray opens with what should be a bipartisan no-brainer: the FBI's mission to keep Americans safe from terrorists, gangs, cyber attacks, and child predators. But instead of addressing this crucial mandate, Patel shrugs off not one, but two major legal requirements: delivering the 2025 spend plan and submitting the 2026 budget request. These aren't optional, they're required by law. And yet his response is a bureaucratic shoulder shrug. I don't have a timeline. Translation: I don't feel like following the law, and Republicans won't make me. This is Trumpism's disease spreading through federal agencies. It's the same arrogance, the same contempt for transparency, the same disdain for institutional norms. The Republican Party has spent years accusing Democrats of weaponizing government, yet here they are, placing a Trump crony at the helm of the FBI, stonewalling Congress, and treating legally mandated budget disclosures like optional homework assignments. And let's get one thing straight. This underfunding of the FBI didn't start with Democrats. It's the direct result of Trump's own Fiscal Responsibility Act, which, despite its Orwellian name, slashed federal law enforcement capacity. We're talking about nearly 2,000 FBI employees cut since 2023. That's not fiscal prudence. That's national sabotage. Even worse, Director Patel won't admit what we all know. You can't fight terrorism, cybercrime, and fentanyl trafficking with ghost budgets and missing staff. He tells Murray, I can do more with more, while simultaneously endorsing Trump's cuts. That's not leadership, that's cowardice. And when Murray presses him on the FBI's role in community safety, from tackling fentanyl in Washington state to coordinating with local police, he tosses out vague reassurances while dodging the brutal truth. This administration is gutting public safety to score political points with the anti-government right. This part of the hearing makes one thing crystal clear: the GOP isn't backing the blue. They're bleeding it dry. And their puppet director is complicit every step of the way. And just when you thought the gaslighting couldn't get more brazen, wait until you see what Director Patel says next. We're diving into surveillance, child protection, and a full-blown privacy scandal. And it's even messier than you think.
Mr. Fan.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Director Patel. In a local situation in Maryville, Indiana, within my district, I have a high-intensity drug trafficking area, HIDA, which receives federal funding. That works with the local law enforcement. We are the crossroads of America near Chicago. The drugs that you're talking about are transported through those areas all the time. With these budget cuts, can you talk about how those HIDA and agencies will be funded?
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. It's like any other successful mission set that we have at the FBI. And HIDA, I worked on as a terrorism prosecutor as myself. Extremely critical because, like some of the other situations across the country, that region has been recognized, unfortunately, because of the high-intensity drug flow. And in order to countermand it, we have to keep these task forces open, up and running, and funded. But in order to do that, we can't just flood it only with federal funds and federal personnel committed to working with our state and local partners, because that's what makes HIDA successful. My experience in HIDA wasn't in your district, but down in the Southern District of Florida, and I can't imagine it being too different in terms of how we proceed and how to make that successful.
Okay. My next question is, just recently you had a visit to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Just please tell me how that cyber tip line and how that program's future looks with these $500 million cuts.
We actually partner wonderfully with NCMEC, and we've committed to allowing our FBI employees to remain there no matter what. We will find a way to fill that mission set, even if, even under the most austere of budget cuts, because what they do is exceptional. If people don't know, they need to go there and see it. It's right in Arlington, Virginia. They find missing children from 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and they provide treatment to those that have been abused.
Okay.
And so you have my commitment, sir, that we'll do it.
I appreciate that. And according to the domestic terrorism operations sections, the internal tagging system used to track domestic terrorism investigations was eliminated, and the staff of 16 was reduced. Can you tell me that future and where you hold that program?
Sir, if I may, can I get back to you on that in writing, because I'm not familiar with that off my head.
Then in your written testimony, you had talked about cybersecurity. I'm going to tie two things together. The FBI agents, are they still currently, at the end of every week, emailing the 5 things that they've accomplished?
I'm glad you raised that point, sir. We never did that.
Okay.
I stopped
The
that.
FBI agents were never asked to put in their goals in which they accomplished?
The-
The reason why I say that is because I had a specific conversation at a retirement party of a chief from an agent who expressed to me that after he had chased a car down 8094 who had stabbed a family member, and he left his home and was able to prevent that individual from killing someone else because it was cross state lines, that he had to go back and then that next day was told he had to fill out his emails of what he accomplished.
That email was sent across government agencies.
So it was sent to the FBI.
It was sent to.
So you just said it was never sent to the FBI. So was it or was it not?
It was sent to the FBI. I, as the director of the FBI, said we are not.
Who sent it?
We are not responding to it. It came from a general account at the department.
Okay, so then my next question is, that information that my FBI agent in my district sent to that agency, how is that information protected?
I'm sorry, are you saying the agent responded to that email?
Are you saying they did not?
I told the workforce not to.
But you just told me that they received the email.
We did.
So without this, let's just assume that they did. Where did that information go and how is it protected?
That information would have only been sent to their immediate supervisor, and every supervisor in the Bureau was told if they received any such information, it is not to be actioned in any way.
So what happened with that information with the supervisors?
I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that, if any was collected, but if it was.
So you said that the FBI, that a different agency sent that email. What was that agency?
It came from the Department of Justice.
Okay. And those emails never went back to the Department of Justice who requested it?
No, sir.
Okay. And you're 100% confident of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The information that the supervisors had from those agents, where did that go?
That should not have been transmitted anywhere. We got on top of it fast enough where I believe, and
Because you thought it was wrong?
I thought
Why did you prevent it?
Because the operational mandate that we have at the Bureau, in my opinion, prohibited the public disclosure of that information across our media.
So to be perfectly clear, the Department of Justice got it wrong.
I'm not speaking for the Department of Justice. As
But you
I
are saying that that directive was in complete conflict of what your procedures and processes are.
My procedures and processes are under the Department of Justice. I'm saying as a subordinate of the Department of Justice, that's where the email came from. I don't know where it came from on top of them.
But your directive was to make sure that the Department of Justice did not get the FBI information,
That no one got it.
except the supervisors. Why would they request it if they would never get it?
Well, the supervisors were told to stand down. What I'm trying to say is when that email came in, we acted as fast as we could, I think the same day, to say we are not in a position to do that. Everybody hit pause till we figure out what to do. And the end result was we at the FBI are not complying with that request to publicly do so. And we told agents that if you feel the need to express that information to your supervisors, only do so on the classified system.
Okay. The information that I received, that personal conversation that I had, that agent didn't seem like he felt the need. He felt it was a directive. I thank you for your forthcoming. I look forward to working with you. The purpose of me bringing up this questioning was to make sure that that information is secure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
I'll
very
double
much.
check.
Mr. Moore.
I yield back.
Welcome to part 2, where Director Patel takes the GOP's doublespeak to a new low and exposes the chaos festering inside Trump's Department of Justice. We start with a local lawmaker raising concerns about drug trafficking in Indiana, an issue that should unite Republicans and Democrats. But instead of acknowledging the harm caused by Trump's law enforcement cuts, Patel again offers empty platitudes and vague promises. He insists these critical task forces will somehow stay afloat, even as funding evaporates. Next, he shifts to the FBI's partnership with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, a cause anyone with a conscience would prioritize. Yet again, he dodges. He says the FBI will find a way to keep supporting them even under austere budget cuts. Translation: we're gutting programs that protect abused children and hoping no one notices while we blame the other side. But the most jaw-dropping moment comes when the questioning turns to surveillance and internal accountability. The director is asked about FBI agents being forced to send weekly accomplishment reports via email to outside agencies. First, he says it never happened. Then he admits it did happen, but blames DOJ. Then he claims he stopped it. Then he admits he doesn't know what happened to the data. In just 5 minutes, Patel manages to contradict himself at least 4 different times. He can't say where sensitive agent data went, who requested it, or how it was protected. This isn't just sloppiness, it's a flashing red warning sign of the chaos and politicization rotting away at the core of Trump's justice machine. Let's be real. If this were a Democrat doing any of this, the GOP would be screaming about a deep state coup. But when it's one of their own, crickets, or worse, they defend it. Patel ends with a stunning admission. If you want to talk about someone who was attacked by a weaponized bureau, you're looking at him. Seriously? This man is running the FBI like a Trump campaign annex, and he's the victim? Let's be very clear. What we're seeing here isn't oversight. It's overreach. It's a rogue GOP operation turning our institutions into partisan playthings. And every evasive answer, every missing document, every data privacy breach brings us closer to a future where the rule of law is dictated not by facts or justice, but by loyalty to Trump. So let's recap what we just witnessed. A budget hearing without a budget. A law enforcement agency stripped of staff, resources, and transparency. And a director handpicked from the Trump orbit who can't answer basic questions about surveillance, ethics, or legality without tripping over his own lies. Senator Murray called it what it is: unprecedented, unacceptable, and dangerous. And she's absolutely right. The GOP claims to be the party of law and order, but they're defunding the FBI, stonewalling budget oversight, and enabling a director who shrugs off legal requirements like they're mere suggestions. This isn't about safety, it's about shielding power. It's about silencing dissent. It's about weaponizing government against truth and democracy while playing the victim. Director Patel is no neutral public servant. He's a political operative installed to launder Trumpism through the FBI. And he's doing exactly that by eroding trust, dodging scrutiny, and covering for a party that thrives on chaos and control. If we don't call this out, if we let these lies fester unchecked, we're handing them the tools to dismantle democracy from the inside. If you're done watching the GOP destroy our institutions from within, slam that like button. Share this video so everyone sees how deep this goes. Subscribe and join us as we keep exposing their corruption, because democracy doesn't die in darkness. It dies in silence. Let's make some noise.